The first touch point for every patient is at the Klinik Kesihatan Awam. Within the first few weeks of the pregnancy, the patient can visit any clinic. So everything starts here. So she can proceed by clicking on Cipta Account Baru. Now, she needs to fill in her personal details and she will need to provide a contact number. The next step is to give access of her data to a chosen hospital or clinic. In this case, it will be the clinic that introduced My Mums to her. So she can click on the box and a list of all the clinics registered will appear. So all the patient needs to do is search it up. So for this example, she chooses Acme Clinic and proceeds. Now her registration is successful. A view from the clinic's end. So the nurse or the doctor at the Klinik Kesihatan Awam can access the system. They can access this on a mobile device or a PC desktop using a browser. For the clinics, we advise to use a PC desktop because there are more information to be absorbed and key in. So it is more comfortable to use a PC desktop. So let's say Izzat is a physician at Acme Clinic and logs in. So here he can see a simple dashboard. Laporan ringkasan hari sebelum, laporan ringkasan hari ini, pendaftaran kehamilan baru. So the patient's name was Hana Safia. It will not appear here yet because it is not yet registered from the clinic's end. So as you can see, there are two patients that were registered today. So Izzat has to look for the new patient that registered earlier and search by name. So just type Hana Safia. Once the name is found, the clinician, Izzat, will click on Hana Safia and proceed to register her. A prompt will appear. Rekod baru. Adakah anda ingin mendaftarkan rekod kandungan baru bagi Hana Safia? Click Ya. Another prompt will appear. Rekod baru. This will instruct that the patient fill in consent to conduct the test, which is the kebenaran ujian saringan antenatal. So the patient now will have to give consent to proceed with the test. So now we go back to Hana Safia's app. So when she logs in, she will see that this notification pops up in the app. This is the borang kebenaran untuk pengambilan darah bagi ujian saringan antenatal. So the consent for taking the test. So she will acknowledge and approve one by one for all these tests to be taken. And submit. Click hantar. So now the view for Hana Safia shows her dashboard, where at the top you can see her name, her profile, she can insert her picture there. At this point, her code warna will be putih. If she visits a hospital, she can check in at the hospital and nyatakan tujuan, whether it is routine checkup or to take any measurement or a complication. And then any appointments will appear under temu janji. We also have a section for Q&A where the patient can ask questions. So she can type her questions here and it will be sent to the hospital. And anyone from the hospital who has access to this question can answer. She also has access to the pergerakan janin harian or the kick counts. Assuming that Hana Safia is in the later stages of her pregnancy and the baby has already started to kick, then she can monitor where every time the baby kicks, she can just click here and it will reflect on the clinic's end. The Perihal Kehamilan shows all the details that are taken from the pink book. We have made it accessible here as well. So here, whenever the doctor updates, whenever there's changes to the system code warna, perihal kandungan lalu, ujian saringan antenatal, the results of the test would all be shown through this navigation. pemantauan pre-eclampsia, pemantauan MGTT. All the functions that we can find within the physical pink book is also made accessible digitally in My Mum's app. As mentioned earlier, the soal jawab can also be accessible over here. We can also educate the patient when anyone asks a question and make it public so everyone can see. In this case, someone has asked a question, apakah kelengkapan bersalin yang akan disediakan? And then here we can see that someone from Hospital Chancellor Tuanku Muris has responded to that question. So even patient education can be delivered through the Q&A. So you can ask any questions here and expect a reply. So this is the patient view and registration. We would also like to highlight that we have made it easy for the patient to navigate in this system through the easy-to-use user interface so that they know that these are the buttons that can be clicked and there's a navigation at the bottom. If they're still not sure, they can click at the 3 dots on the top right corner and go to Panduan Pengguna. Here, we have provided the instructions for each of the functions that can be navigated within the app. So for example, under pendaftaran akaun baru, we have provided videos on how to daftar. So for all these functions, we provided instructional videos on how to use the app. So we make it easy for the patients to be familiar with the system with easy navigation and with training via these videos. So now, let's go back to the clinic view. After registering Hana Safia, the number has increased to 3 today. So under laporan ringkasan hari ini, pendaftaran kehamilan baru is 3. And if we look at the detail, it shows that Hana Safia has been added today. And now we go to her account. We see that the patient has already given consent. And according to KKM guidelines, the saksi needs to acknowledge from the clinic's end. So in this case, Izzat keys in his IC, acknowledges, and submits. So for the patient, she has submitted consent and the clinic has acknowledged it. This is the clinic's view. Here is the dashboard of the patient from the clinic's view. So you can see Hana Safia, her age, code warna, her details that she filled in earlier, and also if there is pergerakan janin is reflected over here. If there is any additional notes, the clinic can add on in senarai masalah kesihatan. There is also the ujian makmal untuk dikesan. So when the record comes in, we can add in the results here. Her appointments can also be tracked here. So we can add new appointments or acknowledge the check-in. And then we have all the details that are similar to the pink book, and we can key in these details. So this completes the My Mum's registration for both the patient side and the clinician side.